Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Bag Lunches 123 and my daughter Olive. Have you ever went to the supermarket and bought one of those huge family style packages of whether it be chicken legs or chicken thighs? You like cook half of it and you don't know what to do with the rest of it. Well, today my family has done that, so we purchased a very big family pack of chicken thighs. We cooked half of it and we have half left. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the steps of making some homemade fajita seasoning to go on those chicken thighs that we have extra. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that recipe together and put it in a vacuum seal bag and put it in the freezer for a later day. Hang tight, we'll get those ingredients together and we'll get started. For this recipe, we're going to start out with 2 teaspoons of chili powder. Unfortunately, I ran out of chili powder, so I'm going to increase my amount of cumin. So we have about 1 teaspoon of chili powder. The recipe calls for 2. We have a teaspoon of salt. We'll mix those together. Next, ask for 1 teaspoon of paprika. For my recipe, I'm going to use smoked paprika just to give it a little bit different of a flavor. I really like smoked paprika. It smells good, tastes good, and it's going to go really good with our recipe. So we're going to add 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of white granulated sugar. Our next will be a half a teaspoon of onion powder. I'm going to move it up to 1 teaspoon because our family, we really like onion powder and garlic powder, so I'm going to add just a little bit extra. It's always good to know kind of what your family's tastes are. And for our family, we like onion, we like garlic. Those flavors they come together really well. Next, we're going to add the recipe calls for a half a teaspoon of cumin, but again, we ran low in our ground chili powder. So we are going to up our ground cumin to approximately 1 tablespoon. Okay. Next, we're going to add the garlic powder. Again, my family, we really love garlic. Garlic, it tastes so good. And so the recipe calls for a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Again, in my family, we're going to up it to 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I want to also say thank you to everybody for the last video, the biscuit thing. We've got a lot of positive feedback from different people, and for my channel, we just broke 100 views on 1 video, and to me, that is a big deal. I'm really grateful. I just started doing this with my family, my son, to make memories, but also, to teach them, numbers as far as like fractions, but also how to cook, because it's very important, in my opinion, to know how to cook, because when he gets older, he's definitely going to have to learn that skill on his own. The next ingredient calls for a 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm going to do about half of that because my family, we don't like things too hot. However, if your family likes it, you can increase it. To me, recipes are more like guidelines. It's something to kind of get you started and then go from there. So now we have our ingredients together, and we're just going to kind of give it a stir, and I'm going to shake it allow everything to mix together. I had a lid somewhere, but probably left it in the house. Hope everybody's having a great week. Hang tight, I'm gonna go grab our chicken thighs, and that'll be the next part to this recipe. Is I'm gonna take and beat them out to make them really thin. I'm gonna cut them up into little strips, put them in a vacuum seal bag, mix them up with our seasoning, and then we'll suction out all the air and seal it up and put it into the freezer. Another ingredient that the recipe calls for is a teaspoon of cornstarch. I'm not going to put the cornstarch in with my seasoning quite yet. That would be something I would want to add when I'm cooking, because the cornstarch is going to help thicken everything up. And with that, we'll add a little bit of water to kind of help the seasoning kind of thin out and kind of go into the chicken really well. So hang tight, I'll be back with that chicken. We'll get it beat out, cut up into strips, and yeah, it's going to be really good. Hang tight. All right, we have now gotten our chicken thighs. And we've got our tenderizer. You may have a mallet or a different form. Anything will work. I'm just going to take this chicken thigh, and we're really just going to kind of give it a good flattening out. Alright, that one's kind of flattened out. We're going to move on to the next one. Well, hang tight. I have quite a few of these to do, and then we'll be getting into cutting them into slices again, and then we'll put the seasoning in our bag. Hang tight. All right, we now have gotten our chicken all thinned out and pounded out with our tenderizer, and so now we're just going to cut it up into some strips. I like to cut mine about a 1/4 of an inch or so. So something along that line. It's 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. So we're going to cut all those up. See, about that size. All right, we're going to finish cutting all these up, and then we're going to put them in the bag and add our seasoning. That will be our next step. All right, we now have gotten our chicken all cut up into chunks and strips. So now we're just going to add it to our vacuum seal bag. This recipe, you don't have to necessarily put it in a vacuum seal bag. You could actually just cook it that night. However, like I mentioned, we had a little excess of chicken thighs and just kind of trying to get it all set up and try to make it somewhat easy for us. So in a couple of days or so, when we decide we want to have some fajitas, we'll just pull this out of the freezer, throw it on a skillet, and start cooking. Hang tight, my boy is calling me. All right, we're going to add the rest of our chicken to the bag. And Next step will be to add the seasoning. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, August has made his way outside, and he is going to add our fajita mix. He's a little upset. It's raining here, and so the internet went down, and he was in the middle of a show. Sometimes that happens. So he's going to help me. We're going to add our seasoning to our chicken. Go ahead, buddy. Dump it in. You know what we get to do next? First, let's get it all in there. Just kind of show you guys. It's all in there. So now we're going to just kind of mix it together. So we can get that seasoning all over our chicken. You know what this is going to be, bud? This is going to be for some fajitas, or we could also do chicken tacos. What do you think about that? Think it's going to be yummy? Yeah. All right, hang tight. Our next step, we're going to seal our bag of goodies, and then it goes into the freezer. Hang tight. We're going to get our vacuum sealer set up, and we'll be right back. All right, we've gotten our vacuum sealer set up. Now we're going to close the lid on it, and you're going to hit the vacuum and seal button, and that should, it's going to suck out all that air, and it should seal it.
It's getting brown.
Yep, now watch, wait till the light goes off. See the light? Still on.
No,
It's sealing.
it's blinking?
And now it's off. Now we can just pop it loose. And there we have it. We have some vacuum sealed, ready to go fajita chicken strips. Again, I want to thank everyone for watching this episode of Bag Lunches 1, 2, 3. Don't you think so, baby? Again, like, subscribe, tell your friends. And again, I appreciate every one of you who have been watching the channel. I don't take it for granted. And we'll catch you on the next one.